On this episode of MythBusters, anyone for table tennis? Adam and Jamie plunge to new depths when they try to salvage a sunken sailboat in the silliest of fashions. Just how many ping-pong balls would it take to float your boat? And how many balloons before you lose your kid at the carnival?
I think my arm is about to be ripped out of its socket.
Welcome to the Float-a-thon. Who are the MythBusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. What happens if your ship catches on fire and sinks in the harbor? Can you bring it back from the bottom? And how about if all you have on hand are ping pong balls?
Well, Jamie, your years as a captain of a ship down in the Caribbean is going to serve you well for this myth, ping pong ball salvage.
Yeah, it actually seems pretty familiar to me because in those days I formed a salvage company and we actually raised a sunken sailboat using garbage bags just by filling one bag up at a time. And this is actually pretty similar, except we're going to be using thousands and thousands of ping pong balls to do it.
These, to raise a ship
Yeah,
off the bottom of the ocean.
that's the myth.
Salvage companies use large flotation bags, which are usually filled with air while on the ocean floor. A slightly different technique was used to raise a piece of Titanic's hull in 1998. The big piece weighed in at 20 tons and took 5 giant bags to lift, each filled with 6,000 gallons of lightweight propane. But in the 1940s, Donald Duck and his nephews had the comical idea of using ping pong balls for underwater salvage. Now, the Duck has made its way into the MythBusters Hall of Fame.
You know, one of the first questions that comes to my mind, Jamie, is how much buoyancy does a ping pong ball have? And actually, how much space a whole bunch of ping pong balls occupies?
Huh.
What he's trying to say is they need to know some numbers before they can even consider this wacky myth. Like precisely how many ping pong balls will lift how much weight in water.
I'm going to zero out my digital scale. Then I'm going to fill this top cup with exactly 1 pound of buckshot and then see how many ping pong balls it takes to negate that 1 pound of buckshot.
If it takes too many balls, this myth may have to remain in the realm of fantasy. Jamie's skeptical about Adam's rig.
Are we going to get like a 30-foot long tong for the real thing?
It takes a fair amount of force to push it down there. The math says 15 balls.
So what's the problem? You don't believe the math?
Well, we never believe the math on MythBusters. Oh.
That's great, Adam. I'll see you later. Let me know when you get that all worked out.
Luckily, Adam is less fragile than his rig. He resets the experiment and tries again. When the cup containing the ping pong balls floats upwards, he has his answer.
That actually confirms my math. I think that was exactly 15 balls to eliminate a pound of weight.
Here comes that sinking feeling.
That's a lot of balls for a lot of pounds.
Experiment number 2 is designed to find out just how many ping pong balls will fit into a confined space. Adam adopts a questionable scientific method. Please, whatever you do, don't try this at home.
So, 2, 4.
Returning to his senses, he uses the fish tank to find out how efficiently ping pong balls pack together.
So I've got just about 300 balls in here. My space is...
Adam crunches the numbers, and they don't look pretty.
51%. 51% packing efficiency. That's crappy. What that means is that there's all this space between the balls where they can't go right up next to each other because of the fact that spheres are not very good at like stacking up against each other.
So far, so bad. Is this myth sunk before it's even begun? While Adam and Jamie are getting bogged down, the build team are going up, up and away.
I love blowing these balloons up. It's fun.
Hey, you can get a job at the carnival.
I have too many teeth.
Yeah, you do.
Scotty, Tori, and Carrie may look like they're having fun, but this is what they call work.
And
That's the way this is gonna go today.
They're testing a myth that has launched 1,000 Hollywood fairground gags. Mr. Bean demonstrates the classic routine. Kid begins to cry. Parent caves in. Kid gets handed a bunch of balloons. Distracted parent looks away. Kid drifts off into the wild blue yonder. But have you ever wondered, if you really did want to float little Elmer off into the next county, how many party balloons it would take? The MythBusters build team is about to find out. They'll need a willing kid and a whole bunch of balloons. But will that bunch be implausibly large? First up, they find out how much weight 10 balloons of the standard 11-inch party variety can lift.
Here's 10 balloons.
there's 10 there, okay.
The balloons lift 100 grams of easy-to-attach paper clips. And converting from metric, it should take 46 balloons to lift 1 pound.
Let's try to get a really skinny kid.
Yeah.
There you go.
How about a cute one?
Well, it looks like 3 balloons won't fly you away.
Don't follow his example, but the MythBusters sound man has volunteered the flying services of his intrepid daughter, Maddie.
Grab a scale. I got a kid. Let's see how heavy you are.
About 40.
44 pounds.
Yeah. Maddie, you want to fly away in balloons? Up in the air?
Are you
Yeah.
afraid of heights?
Nah.
Good.
That's gonna be you.
Maddie may well scream. She's going to be holding on to the biggest bunch of balloons she's ever likely to see.
Oh my God, we're coming up with 2,070 balloons. And we know we're probably gonna pop about 1,000 of them.
Yeah, so we're gonna need to get a lot of balloons.
Somewhere out there is an unsuspecting party store owner, and the MythBusters builders are about to make his day.
All right, let's go shopping.
All right, let's go.
Adam can pull some neat stunts with ping pong balls, but can he and Jamie really use them to salvage a sunken boat?
Now, the essential question for us in testing this myth is, what boat do we raise off the ocean floor?
Well, we did do a thing on a previous experiment with a tugboat that we dubbed the Mythanic.
The Mythanic, that's perfect.
Previously on MythBusters, the guys set out to scuttle the Mythanic, and with it, the myth that a sinking ship will suck you under.
Remember this ship?
The Mythanic!
Adam rates the episode as his scariest piece of myth-busting so far.
The first time this thing started to go under, it went bow first, and the back end was really lurching, something fierce, and I just didn't want to get caught under any part of it.
Surprised by the sea's rapid inflow, Adam bails out early and misses his chance.
The second time it was a lot more gentle, and it started rolling kind of like this, and I sort of sat on the windows of the wheelhouse here and went right under.
Mythanic went under. Adam floated. The myth was safely busted. Now, the guys plan to sink Mythanic again to see if they can bring her back to the surface using only ping pong balls. It all depends on how much Mythanic weighs.
Now, do you remember anything about how much it actually weighed?
I don't have a clue, you know. We'll have to get a crane out here because I think they typically come with scales on them, and we can find out pretty quick.
They know that 15 ping pong balls offset 1 pound of weight underwater. Mythanic won't be sunk until the guys figure out how many balls they'll need to get her back.
Minus the rigging, which is 3,300 pounds roughly, I came up with just under 28,000 pounds. Well, Jimmy, the Mythtanic tops out at just under 28,000 pounds, about 14 tons, which by my calculations would take about just under 400,000 ping pong balls to lift it out of the water.
It's an implausible amount, so Mythtanic is abandoned and it's back to the drawing board.
What about your average Joe? I think we look towards this myth as being something we can scale down to, say, a fiberglass sailboat. Let's say your average Joe lost his fiberglass sailboat in shallow coastal waters and happened to be a former table tennis star and has a few dozen thousand ping pong balls lying around. Could he salvage the boat from, let's say, 30 to 35 feet of water?
A small sailboat weighs about 3,500 pounds.
It'll take just over 50,000 balls to make it neutrally buoyant, probably 60,000 to raise it from the bottom of the ocean.
That's a small sailboat.
That's a small sailboat, like a 25-footer or something like that.
And that's still about $25,000 worth of ping pong balls, right?
Yeah, at 50 cents a piece, it's still a hell of a lot of dough worth of ping pong balls. But it's a lot more approachable than 600,000 of them.
The guys don't want to burn the budget, but the next big question is, can ping pong balls take the heat at 35 feet?
Would they hold up under the pressure?
Maybe we should test it first. We wouldn't want to set up this whole rig and find out that, you know, they only go down 10 feet.
That would be bad.
Jamie designs a pressure chamber to simulate what will happen to the ping pong balls 35 feet underwater. If they crack under the higher pressure, this myth is busted before the guys even get their feet wet.
What we're doing now is we're making a pressure vessel, and with around 100 psi or so, which we'd like to bring it up to, that's something sort of special. So we've got to custom make something, and hopefully we won't hurt anybody.
In a previous episode of MythBusters, the boys toyed around with pressure and its effects on breast implants.
Look at that. It's a thing of beauty.
Jamie decided to see if they would compress under the high-pressure conditions of deep-sea diving. He didn't figure on explosive results.
We had a seal blow. Are you guys all right?
Now, the guys are swapping breast implants for ping pong balls, but the danger is just the same.
Never let it be said that Jamie and I don't take high pressure seriously. So we're going to take this down to 1 atmosphere, right?
No, we'll take it all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
Cool.
A blast screen is put in place in case of an explosion.
You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
It's time for the big squeeze.
We're at 30 psi. That's 2 atmospheres.
No, that's one.
But 30 psi is 2 atmospheres.
Yeah, but they weren't made in outer space. So they were made at 1 atmosphere, so we've only added 1 atmosphere.
Oh, okay, I see. So let's go to 45.
Okay.
45 pounds per square inch means adding 2 atmospheres of pressure. That's what the balls would face over 60 feet underwater.
I'm just going to keep on going.
Okay.
If you hear a big boom, just dive.
Adam sends the ping pong balls deeper and deeper until...
Whoa!
I heard that. What was
What was that? That was at about
That was about
60.
Well, so they didn't burst until 60 psi. That's 4 atmospheres. That's equivalent to 90 feet under the water. The distance we're thinking of, about 30 feet, doesn't seem like these ping pong balls will crush it all down there.
Now that they know pressure won't be a problem, the guys ship in 60,000 ping pong balls. But there's one remaining hurdle. How on earth do they get so many balls down to a sunken boat?
We've thought about mechanical means, huge chains that pull balls down.
Like tens or hundreds of thousands of ping pong balls.
But we've also thought of these huge bellows pumps.
We don't want to take them down a bag at a time with scuba.
Valve opens, ping pong balls come in, valve closes, ping pong balls shove out. I mean, the amount of custom building we've been pondering here is huge.
The guys are stuck at the drawing board. As ideas run dry, Adam starts to crack up.
Wow. Hey, would you like to hold these?
No.
Concerned for Adam's mental well-being, Jamie makes a practical suggestion.
One of the first things that I think we should do is actually try in a scale experiment seeing whether a flow of water downward will carry these with them, because we might just get away with having a tube going down into the boat. Gravity takes the water down, and maybe, just maybe, it'll pull some of these ping pong balls with it. And then we could just sit there and dump them in without having to enclose and pressurize the system.
It's the simplest of builds. Adam suspects it may be too simple. Take a funnel and a tube and just add water, gravity, and ping pong balls.
They're coming out. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Simple but brilliant. A dispensing rig to dispatch ping pong balls down to Davy Jones' locker.
That is going to save us so much work if this actually works in the large scale.
The MythBusters are no strangers to unpowered flight.
I'm very excited about this. We're starting to
In
lift.
testing the myth of the lawn chair balloonist, Adam took to the air and took his life in his hands.
I have to let you go.
I'd rather just stay under 100 feet. Thank you, over.
So they know you can fly beneath weather balloons if you have enough.
Here we go! Ah!
Wow, look at this.
But could a bunch of party balloons really carry a kid away from a carnival? The MythBusters builders are on the case. At SF Party, they need at least 2,000 balloons, a stack of helium, and a speed lesson in tying.
Okay, so you bring 2 balloons, both same size, okay, and you tie them into each other.
If Feliciano had $1 for every balloon he's tied, well, he wouldn't be tying balloons anymore.
All right, see, you got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Feliciano reveals the secret of making really big bunches of balloons. You've got to have columns, lots and lots of columns.
All right, so
Now I go like that.
great.
You know, I don't usually admit this in public, but I used to be a face painting clown.
Oh, you know how to tie little
Balloon animals?
Maybe. Dog with a very long tail. Beep, beep, beep.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
Don't have too much fun in here.
We'll try.
I think he just saved us a ton of time. Originally, I had imagined that we were going to tie all these balloons to single strings, each balloon having a string going down to a point. But now what we're going to do is we're going to build columns. We're going to make columns of balloons, 250, and then we'll tie those together down to the kid. So it's going to save us a lot of time.
Time could really burst their bubble on this experiment. How long does it take to inflate 2,000 balloons? Can you even do it in a day? Time for a time trial.
Get set, go.
25 balloons, 3 sets of hands.
This is easy.
The clock is ticking and the team is pumped.
Come on, Scotty! 2 minutes, 20 seconds.
For 25 balloons.
Okay.
2 minutes, 20 seconds.
That was tough.
Minutes.
So, say 2,500 balloons means how long?
I mean, we got 25,
So that's
25.
2,500 times 2.
That's 1,000 times 2.2. Wait, no, wait.
Okay. For
I can't listen to you guys right now.
2.
I got 2 women. I'm distracted. I mean,
No.
Eventually, they called a rocket scientist, and she came up with just under 4 hours.
God, I used to be a teacher. The kids are gonna be like, oh my God, she can't even do math anymore.
I ain't never been one for book learning.
Math will soon be the least of their worries. 4 hours is the absolute minimum inflation time. And they've only got 1 day to pull this off.
It's really not going to be that bad.
famous last words.
Yes.
Where better to test the fairground balloon myth than an abandoned aircraft hangar?
All right, we don't have much time, guys.
We've got our balloons, we got our helium tanks, and we don't have much time. We have to blow up 2,000 balloons and get a 4-year-old off the ground by the end of today.
Fearless stunt kid Maddie is bubbling over with excitement.
Yay! Bubbles! We have bubbles. We're in luck.
2,000 balloons should send Maddie on her maiden flight.
So we were wondering, if a kid were to get carried away by balloons, where would they end up?
So we've attached little notes to our balloons to see how far they go. If somebody gets them, they'll call us.
Ready, Maddie? Let it go. Whee!
If the power of wishful thinking counts for anything, there'll be news of those balloons again someday. The team makes like they're getting ready for the world's biggest carnival.
Oh, look!
You've got big, fumbly man hands.
This balloon business is child's play.
Whoa! Oh my God.
So we're doing all right.
We're golden.
All right, what number are we at?
This is gonna be 1,900.
They're ahead of schedule, and with a little luck, ahead of the game in terms of lift. Time for a reality check.
What do you got down there, Carrie? Oh, God.
To avoid undue wear and tear on Maddie, they'll use a stunt kid.
Isn't she cute?
She is the exact weight as Maddie. I made her yesterday.
Oh,
They'll hook sandbag Maddie onto the balloons.
This is fantastic. This is pulling me up so hard. You know, we figured that it would hold up about 10 grams per balloon. I think we've got more lift than that.
I think my arm is about to be ripped out of its socket.
It's an impressive bunch. But how much lift do they really have?
Uh-oh.
Well, we're not getting lift.
1,900 balloons only cancel out about half the dummy's weight.
Oh, you're kidding me. She's still 20 pounds. God, I thought we were getting towards the end.
All their lofty calculations have been slapped down by gravity.
Are we sure we counted right on the balloons?
And Maddie's magical mystery flight is starting to look like an impossible dream. Jamie's dispensing rig is a neat way of shipping ping-pong balls down to a sunken boat, as long as it's at the bottom of a bucket. So they scale up the experiment to a depth of 15 feet.
This thing is really heavy. Jeez. We're about to stand up a like 15, 16 foot tall piece of PVC pipe here. We're to use this to test our ping pong ball rescue rig by putting a pipe all the way down to the bottom of it and seeing if we can pump ping pong balls that full distance.
That's about half the depth they'll be working in when they try to raise the sunken boat for real.
Okay, I'm gonna move the bottom over. Okay, good. Nicely done.
The white PVC pipe is filled with water to create a 15-foot slice of ocean. Adam inserts a funnel into the hose, fires up a water pump, and pours in the ping pong balls, which travel to the ocean bottom before dutifully bobbing to the surface.
That's what I like to see.
I'd say that's a working thing, right?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cut it.
Well, let's wrap this up and figure out how to make one really big.
Okay.
The experiment has allayed some of Adam's doubts. He still can't find fault with Jamie's rig.
I actually said it was a very successful test. We had about 8 feet of hose above a 15-foot reservoir, and we got ping pong balls coming up from underneath.
Although the experiment works, Adam wants to double the depth, just to be sure. Jamie's seen enough.
If you pour the water into the tube, it's going to go out the bottom. That's what it is.
I mean, if you want to go without caution and put all our eggs in a single basket, we can, but I'm just advocating caution because I'm not sure. I'm happy to do a myth where we go out and have no caution and pick it up and have you eat it.
You
and
big
not be
baby.
upset about
Stop
it.
whining.
He's such a pain in the ass about it. I mean,
You're always whining about something. You want to waste time on all sorts of crap.
off.
A prediction. Adam's going to have to vent that anger. There you go. The pressure of this myth is starting to show.
So, I guess I got to pull this rig down myself.
I'm up here just letting off some steam right now.
Adam needs a cookie. There are times during the day when, things just get all out of hand because Adam needs a little sugar in the system and he gets all cranky over nothing.
I'm just livid. I'm exhausted of advocating caution.
I'm not the uncautious one.
I'm just thinking of all the what ifs.
Why waste the time over this crap?
If you don't think of all the what ifs, then you get boned out there.
This is simple. We're running a hose down into the boat and pouring ping pong balls down it.
That's probably not going to matter. That's probably not going to matter. And that's probably not going to matter.
We just tested it. It works. And stop whining. Go have a cookie.
It's a knockout. After a cookie cure, Adam's ready for more. His next opponent, a giant plastic funnel. Round 1. Round 2. Round 3.
What?
This funnel's got some fancy moves. Adam's on the ropes. Then, out of nowhere, a pile driver. Adam nails it, and he's back to normal.
What's that you say, Sonny? I can't quite hear you.
He applies the finishing touches to his high-tech funnel and completes a neat about-face in his opinion of Jamie's rig.
I'm really actually pleased with this mechanism. This is a classic Jamie ultimate simplicity. No pumps, no mechanical operations to get the ping pong balls down. All we need is water coming up and over. My big funnel is connected to the hose that will go down and hopefully deliver the ping pong balls to our sunken ship, the Jalapeno.
The MythBusters are at Monterey Bay Marina to select a sailboat to sink and then salvage using ping pong balls. Thanks to the generosity of the harbor master, they find themselves the proud owners of the Jalapeno?
Scott, what's been happening on this boat?
Well, this boat has been neglected for several years, and it was invaded by sea lions last year during the kind of a 10-year cycle that we have with sea lion infestation here in the harbor.
Over 1,000 sea lions decided to take their summer vacation at Monterey Bay, causing havoc at the marina. The invasion sank several boats, but one proved unsinkable, the Jalapeno.
This one had at least 30 or 40 different animals.
So somebody or something has already tried to sink this boat, is what you're telling me.
Tried,
And they
but failed.
Yeah, wow.
Well, it sounds perfect. Scott, this is the perfect boat for us. I think we'll take it.
Okay.
Thank
got
you.
it. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Oh, man. What a piece of crap.
What do you mean? This is a great boat.
I think it's perfect. Oh, we just have to figure out where to drill the right holes. The Jalapeno makes the perfect boat for the ping pong salvage myth. Number 1, it's dirt cheap. Number 2, it's a piece of crap, so no one will mind us sinking it. Number 3, it's fiberglass and has actually a whole bunch of compartments which we can fill each with ping pong balls and then seal off and move on to the next. That's more ideal than we could have hoped for.
Little rotten wood here and there, and a lot of chipped and peeling paint. Otherwise, I think it'll serve our purpose nicely.
We have to clean it really well before we sink it in a protected wildlife sanctuary of Monterey Bay. Shall we start to try and clean this puppy?
There it goes.
With the Jalapeno stripped down to its bare essentials, the guys make some minor last-minute interior adjustments. To refloat the boat from the ocean floor, the ping pong balls must have access to every nook and cranny of cabin space. Sinking a boat is not as easy as you'd think. With the cabin makeover complete, it's time to batten down the hatches. The guys want to be sure that when they fill her with ping pong balls, she doesn't burst open. But they're up against the clock.
What the hell time is it? We're late.
Yeah, it's like almost 4 o'clock.
What?
It's almost like 4 o'clock.
When everything is ship-shape, the Jalapeno is renamed. It's time to scuttle Myth-tanic number 2. The doomed vessel is towed to a safe location on the other side of the marina. With the final leg in sight,
Nice tidies.
the boys slip into something less comfortable. Jamie seems to be going camouflage, as a walrus. The sun is sinking, but Mythtanic 2 is still afloat. The MythBusters are determined that she keeps her appointment with the ocean floor. She's already survived the onslaught of over 40 sea lions, each weighing in at around 800 pounds. Now the MythBusters flood her with water. Adam starts to wonder if she'll ever go under.
How hard is this thing a boat?
A crowd gathers to wave farewell to Mythtanic 2. As she finally surrenders, Adam scrambles to the bow. As Mythtanic 2 descends towards the ocean floor, up above, the guys are in MythBusters heaven.
About 3 minutes ago, we just had what is a classic MythBusters, what the are we doing kind of moment. We just successfully sank the Mythtanic 2. While we were doing it, we took the opportunity to bust the Titanic myth one more time. This boat sunk on a tiny point left up above the water, and I stood on that point and air bubbled around me, and I did not go down with this ship. So, you know, I'm glad we're able to take care of ancillary myths as we go. Busted again! I'm totally pumped on adrenaline. I think I need a cookie.
It's been a blast, but sinking the boat's a breeze compared to what they'll face in the morning when the ping-pong salvage starts for real.
There's a little bit of lift, but
Not enough.
Back at the balloon challenge, young Maddie is showing patience beyond her years. By now, she should have been lifted up, up and away. But someone's messed up, big time. The build team estimated 2,000 balloons would be enough to get her airborne.
Yes, this is truly my arm just being lifted by these balloons.
Instead, it seems they'll need twice that, and time is against them.
Didn't we calculate that the flying times of these balloons would be about 6 hours?
Better work faster.
Not only will they struggle to blow up that many balloons today, but with every minute that passes, the balloons that are inflated lose some of their helium and lifting power.
We might be in like 6,000 balloons by the time we get the kid in the air.
Oh my God, my fingers can't take it.
Suddenly, everything is going wrong.
Balloons are popping. Balloons are deflating.
Balloons are escaping. And with time slipping away, Tori goes fishing.
go, 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 go. Get up there. Yeah, there you go. And they said my ideas are crazy.
Whether it's fear of failure and MythBusters ridicule,
Ow, I need that finger.
or just the dread of a screaming Maddie, the builders blow and tie and curse their way towards a balloon bunch of mythic proportions.
Well, if our count is correct, we are now at 3,000 balloons, which is about 1,000 more than we originally expected.
My fingers are toast.
I guess we should do another test with the dummy, huh?
Once more, a sinking sandbag Maddie reveals the terrible truth.
7 more pounds. We only have to lift 7 more pounds.
500 more balloons coming up.
This myth is starting to smell busted. What carnival balloon vendor in his right mind would create a bunch this big, then hand it to a child?
I have never seen that many balloons, not even at the county fair.
But try telling that to Maddie, who's been promised a flight.
This will get us up to 3,500 balloons.
That's a lot of trouble for a little girl and a big myth. But finally, Maddie's moment has arrived.
Maddie, it's go time.
Woohoo!
All right.
Safety line in hand.
Wait. I got a safety line.
You ready?
Yes.
Look at that!
Oh my gosh!
Maddie will forever be burdened by having a story so amazing that none of her friends believe it.
It worked!
That's the price of showing that while you can lift a kid with party balloons, you just need far too many for the myth to be plausible.
I would say we popped that myth.
Totally busted. There's no way that a circus would have this many balloons in one bunch.
Yeah!
Busted? Did someone say busted? Time to unleash the evil child within. Sure, Freddie and Jason look scary, but for real bang for her buck, Scotty's flashing back to her street performing days. Oh, the humanity.
Scotty, I think your method might be the most effective.
Oh, and remember those balloons set free to roam the world? Well, one bunch turned up at the Sequoia National Park, 300 miles away. The other two, they never write, they never call. A truckload of ping-pong balls rolls south to a rendezvous with the MythBusters. Meanwhile, at a cold and foggy Monterey Bay, there's something very fishy going on.
It seems that you can't plan for everything. There's a fish processing factory behind us, and they're unloading a few thousand pounds of squid, a good portion of which seems to be chumming the very water that we're going to be raising the Mythtanic in. We're emboldened by the fact that there's only been one shark attack in the recorded history of Monterey Bay.
Gallons of squid juice are creating a stink. This myth is putting the pong into ping pong.
Well, the second problem is directly a result of the first, is that all this fish juice that is enticing marine animals to come and feed is also limiting our visibility a lot. So hopefully it'll wash away, but we'll just have to take it as it comes as we go today.
Busting this myth is a tall order without the added perils of sharks and poor visibility. As they race the ping pong balls towards the bay, the guys call in expert help from Robert Flores, a professional salvage diver.
Robert, have you heard the myth about somebody that tried to float a sunken boat with a bunch of ping pong balls?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it happen before.
Oh, what do you think? Is it possible?
If you can get the ping pong balls underwater and you get enough of them in there, I think you can get it to float.
Robert, what are the dangers in doing this kind of salvage work?
In this kind of a situation, you're going to be working inside of a vessel, so you got an overhead environment. You got to be particularly careful of your air consumption rate. And of course, a dramatic loss in buoyancy. For a hatch cover to blow open or the ping pong balls to escape dramatically would cause the vessel to immediately sink again. And if anybody's in it, underneath it, or near it and gets caught in any of the ribbing or ropes, it could be extremely dangerous.
You feel like helping us?
I'd be glad to give you a hand. I want to watch this one happen.
The truck has arrived, and the team get to work unloading 60,000 ping pong balls. Moving this mountain falls to Myth-Turn Christine, and it's getting up her nose.
They stink. Never imagined ping pong balls would smell so bad. The worst case scenario is actually going to happen to me today, which is to collect 60,000 ping pong balls and find a place to put them.
First blood falls to the box cutter.
Another MythBuster injury. I've had candy exploded on my face, I've been shocked twice, I had scaffolding fall near me, and now this.
Can she stay the distance?
Yes, I think I will survive the series, but I think I'll probably use up 8 of my 9 lives.
Christine can take care of herself, but the local wildlife need protecting. Adam and Jamie seek advice from Rachel Saunders of the Monterey Bay Marine Sanctuary.
We're actually about to potentially release like 60,000 ping pong balls into this marine sanctuary. And what would be like a worst case scenario with those ping pong balls, do you think?
Well, we would want to make sure that no marine animals swallowed them, for example, and hurt them in any way. So that would be the primary concern. If they swallowed it, it might get lodged in their throat, and they could choke. They might pass it through, but you don't know.
You know, I think Jamie here actually possesses a certification in otter CPR, actually.
Right. Well, hopefully that won't happen, and we won't have to learn how that would work.
Forewarned is forearmed. The guys decide to seal off the salvage area to keep marine life and ping pong balls apart.
Hey, Jamie, they're calling you.
They saw the mustache.
Yeah.
While Adam feeds the rig up above, Jamie and dive master Robert will be down below at the business end, marshalling balls into MythTanic 2. The rig works, and Jamie clocks in for the early shift on the ocean floor. They're off, and the first of an estimated 50,000 ping pong balls are pumped into MythTanic 2. Things seem to be rolling along. Hold up, there's a holdup. When Adam feeds in too many balls at once, the system chokes. He's reduced to feeding them in a handful at a time. 1 hour into this myth, and spirits are sinking.
At this point, I've only emptied like 4 or 5 boxes. That's like 6,000 or 7,000 ping pong balls. I don't think that means that 50,000 needs to take 10 hours, but we're gonna have to pick up the pace in order for us to get a reasonable amount of balls into there in a reasonable amount of time.
Then Robert pops up with a suggestion.
I think the hose is still too long. I got all this slack and I got all the photos. If you can take about another 10 or 12 feet off of this thing.
I can take 10 feet off in 5 seconds.
The long hose is looping in the water, and the downward flow of ping pong balls is being reversed on the uphill sections. So the balls aren't reaching the boat in large enough numbers. The MythBusters hope that by cutting the hose to length, the flow from funnel to boat will be smoother and faster. Adam lops the hose in half, and they try again, with dramatic results. With one simple modification, the dispensing rig runs like clockwork, and they're having a ball. Soon, MythTanic 2 contains enough ping pong balls to become neutrally buoyant. Her stern remains on the bottom, but her bow is floating free, and she's still only half filled with balls. News reaches the surface, and Adam's on top of the world.
Oh, that's cool.
The most critical phase of the salvage is approaching, and it's also the most dangerous by far. At Monterey Bay, the MythBusters' bid to salvage a sunken boat using ping pong balls lies in the balance.
We're trying to lift this boat from its deck, something the deck was never intended to do. So it's possible once we get enough ping pong balls under there and it's trying to lift the 1,800-pound keel, that the deck will just rip right off the boat and we'll have 30,000 ping pong balls inside of our boom here.
As the upward pressure in the MythTanic reaches critical, Adam continues to feed balls into the funnel. Suddenly, hundreds of them bob up from below. That could be hours of work floating to the surface.
Oh no, they're coming up.
Jamie?
Hold on.
Can you hear me? Over.
Robert surfaces with a damage report. He's okay, but MythTanic 2 has ruptured.
Here's somebody. There we go. What's going on down there?
There's a window on top. We didn't even see it. A piece of wood glued in that blew out.
Shoot.
We need to find a way to put it up underneath and then fill it with ping pong balls again.
On the front of the boat, there was this hatch on the bow that we screwed down. That hole blew out, it seems, from pressure of the ping pong balls, because we were up here pumping the balls down, and all of a sudden, ping pong balls start shooting up out of the water.
A new hatch cover is quickly improvised. Robert fits it from the inside. So as the ping pong balls pack in behind it, they'll force shut the hole. The dispensing rig swings into high gear, and the MythBusters are back in business.
Oh yeah, they're going.
The ping pong balls fly into the depths, and before long, there's 26,000 of them inside MythTanic 2. That's just over half the number they estimate they'll need to raise her. Suddenly, Robert hits the surface with unexpected news.
Now she's standing straight up. She's kind of close, ready to float up. So I'm low on air. Jamie, it's your turn. Go finish her up.
This is the moment of truth. Either this gag is going to work or it's not.
Just in case you were wondering, Jamie isn't referring to the gag about the diver and the beret.
The boat is upright, it's teetering. So we know we've got a lot of flotation in there. It's a question of overcoming the weight of the keel in this boat. These boats have a lead keel. So it's anybody's guess whether it's actually going to work.
The good news is that the main cabin is still empty, so there's plenty of room for more balls. The bad news is that according to their calculations, they need to pump at least another 24,000 of them to get MythTanic 2 out of the mud.
I think it's going to work. It's going to be close.
Jamie goes below for what looks like another long shift. But before long, MythTanic 2 seems to be straining at the leash. A premature resurrection may be imminent. Up top, the excitement mounts.
I'm cautiously optimistic that it's maybe an hour until this boat breaks the surface and confirms this myth.
Take that caution and throw it to the wind. Because even as Adam speaks, MythTanic 2 stirs, then slowly rises from her watery grave. Way ahead of schedule, the ping-pong balls float the MythBusters boat. The 9-hour marathon salvage is over.
Raise the MythTanic 2.
We succeeded, of all things. We got the MythTanic to the surface using about 27,000 ping pong balls all told, which is a lot less than I thought we'd need. But she's on the surface. We did it.
The guys had calculated that it would take at least 50,000 ping pong balls to raise MythTanic 2. But they did it with just over half that number. MythTanic 2 is winched onto the dock, and the guys gather for a post-mortem.
Oh, you're the man. Got it. Okay.
I thought we were going to do it, Jimmy, but I didn't realize we were going to do it that easily.
It didn't really seem like it took that many. None of the compartments were packed like I thought we were going to need to really get every last nook and cranny filled for this to work.
Well, we had to use less because the fiberglass was more buoyant.
And the wood.
And
Something
the wood.
we didn't take into account at the beginning.
Adam, the pump, did it work well? What's the deal?
The pump actually worked. It got the balls down there. I would have liked to have seen them move a little faster, and it took a little dialing in, but overall, for the simplest possible rig we could have designed, it worked like a charm.
And who would have ever thought that you could pour ping pong balls down into the bottom of the ocean?
Exactly.
Actually, the guys were beaten to the idea by a duck. Over 70 years ago, Donald and his nephews came up with a ping pong ball dispensing rig uncannily similar to Jamie's. And like the MythBusters, the comic book Poultry also achieved success.
Well, guys, ping pong ball salvage. Busted, plausible, or confirmed?
Amazingly, I'd say this one is entirely plausible.
Yeah, plausible, not practical though.
But you never think anything's really practical, do you?
What are you talking about?
But wait, there's still time for the ping pong gong.
So what do you think, Robert? Have we busted the field of salvage technology wide open? Are ping pong balls a reasonable way to salvage a boat?
I wouldn't give up my day job yet.
No.
No.
How did Jamie do as a salvage diver?
Well, I think Jamie did an outstanding job. And as part of that, our dive team has all voted and we got together. And Jamie, we'd like to present you with an honorary Navy salvage dive pin.
Wow.
And hopefully you'll come out and dive with us again sometime or call us out the next time you want to do some salvage diving.
Well, that's wonderful, Robert. Thanks.
You're welcome very much.
What am I, chopped liver?